Slurp-de-derp my... Wait, I forgot the slurp. Slurp-de-derp my G's. Today I'm enjoying a nice glass of milk. And today I'm not going to try and sell you anything at all. I'm just going to give you, for free, the formula to make an amazing foghorn bass. Because you're worth it, you know? No matter what anyone tells you, you're worth it. Coming straight from my synthetic heart. So this is called the MEDELLIN foghorn, and the reason for that is because it's sort of like a foghorn, and I'm in Medellin. Isn't that exciting? So let's have a little listen before you decide to switch the video off, or maybe watch the tutorial. It's up to you. It's good, isn't it? It's good. So let's dive straight into it. I'm not going to do any editing either because I'm very lazy, and I just want to, talk straight from the depths of my soul and try and explain to you what the hell I've done here. So yeah, with no particular order, let's turn everything off, and it's simply my sort of take on a kind of foghorn bass, but just made in using like the nice, what I consider sweet spots between all the kind of effects and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm terrible at explaining. All right, so what happens is we got a sine wave at -24, we got a sine wave at 9, and we got a sine wave at 1, right? Just randomly selected pretty much. The first one has detuning on at 3 voices, so that's very important because if I take that off, sounds the same. No. It does add a really nice bit of stereo. So yeah, the main modulation is 1. It's just a simple up and down, quick at the beginning and then nice and slow. I've timed it using the seconds. And this is, it's mainly modulating the volumes of the second 2 sine waves. So the first one is just going to be holding that bass, holding the fort down for when daddy gets home. And this one is modulating the level, and I've fine-tuned them a little bit because I always like to fine-tune things a little bit to get the exact sweet spot of the tone that I'm after. I don't know what tone I'm actually after. Have you seen Tony? Because I haven't heard from him for years, but he used to sell some really good stuff, Tony, but yeah. Anyway, make of that what you will. So there's an FM, it's just 1. You could be smooth and have it off, but I like it a bit dirty. Not in the bedroom, in Vital. So oscillator 2 is FMing this oscillator 3, okay? Just copy it, just screenshot it and copy it, alright? I didn't use any white noise because I was allergic to it today. Yeah, that's the main thing here. Something that happens later. Because what I did was I held down the note and I've played it in along with my dope drum beat here. Yeah, so I held it down, but I added in this little like volume shift thing that happens. So if I just turn that off for a second, I'll bypass it. I'll bypass these guys. So you hear just the first LFO movement. Doing it by seconds is much cooler because you get more off the grid, and like you kind of hear it kind of gets a little bit, I don't know if it's too slow or too fast at the end, but it just has to sort of catch up with itself again. You know, so that's already like a sick rhythm. And so what I did was then I added an LFO sandwich, which is basically, like I've explained 4,000 times before, when you put the LFO 2 to modulate the phase of LFO 1. Yeah, so you just drag. It's complicated because you have to keep your square on LFO 1 for goodness sake, and then hold the second square from LFO 2, but don't click it because then it's going to change square. You don't want to do that. You don't want to change the actual square. You want to stay on square 1 and hold square 2, and then bring it down to the slider. Strider! slider. Yeah, so once it's on there, I'm going to turn it on. And then I'll keep the line at 0, which means there's no modulation. And then whenever we want to change things, we bring something up, and that's going to cause the volume, the phase shift to happen there. So that's where you can write some really funky grooves. But I like this one here, so it's just kind of flat, and then we've got this one little funky nugget, and then it's flat again. Dum dum kumanan kuyanan. You know, you can ring your nan, tell her you've made a great bass. She'll be really proud of you, and she'll die happy. So next, we'll go into these two modulations later. Already sounds sick, doesn't it? And I haven't even put the effects on. But there's one more thing. We got a couple of filters. Yeah, and the first one. I'm just filtering the oscillator one, taking out a bit of the high end from the sub, which doesn't really exist. I don't know why, but it just sounds better. I think because there's a bit of a resonance boost, so it's actually boosting the mid-range a bit of this oscillator here. And yeah, secondly, this one is filtering oscillator 2, and it's quite subtle again. I mixed it in a little bit because, yeah, basically, I just like to add a couple of filter movements, even if they're subtle, because it will just give you like a little bit more of a refined movement in the sound. So that's why I'm doing that pretty much. So without them, you know, it's not too different. But with them, at least on my headphones, it actually sounds more powerful because of the extra movement that's given it that dynamic interest, which in turn makes it more powerful perceptionally. Is that a word? Perceptionally? Perspectively? I don't know. I'm trying to make a tutorial and you're calling me out on words. Well, you're not, because I'm just recording this on my own and no one's actually here. Hi, Mum. Anyway, next up, we're going to add in the effects, and this is where it starts to get really good, because what I like to do is reverb it and then distort the reverb, right? So I'm really like enjoying the flavor of the reverb, so a little bit counterintuitive because we're going to like sort of blend in a bit of reverb with it, so it's going to lose a bit of power, but we're going to gain a bit of character from the sort of tone of the reverb. So, sorry, there was just a little fly. Right, so that's where we get dirty. You know, you can stop there, or you can stay and watch what else I've got to say, or you can just watch me drink milk. You know, do whatever you want, as long as you make sure that you're happy. That's the main thing. So, this part is great because we distort that reverb, so you get to hear a bit of that. If I just press one note, you hear that reverb tail. It's very exaggerated, isn't it? If I put it after the distortion, completely different sound, isn't it? This is much nicer like that. So play around with distorting your reverbs. Doesn't always work, but when it does, whoa, you can really text your nan and leave like one emoji, only one. Because if you leave more than one emoji in a message, and this is for my male viewers. If you're female, it's fine, but if you're a male and you leave more than one emoji in a text message, it means that you're not masculine, right? Oh, that's a weird pitch. I don't like that. I'm just kidding. You can do what you want. Just be yourself. Always be yourself. We got a little bit of chorus, and I mixed this on the LFO here. So you'd think that I would mix it up, right? So when the foghorn is like open at the top, the chorus is like high to make it wider at the top. But I thought I'm gonna make it wider at the bottom, like when the bass is like doesn't have the high harmonics, then it becomes more chorusy. So I did it the other way around. And that was to confuse the listener, because mostly what I do in sound design is designed to effectively confuse the listener. So the other thing with the chorus is playing with the delay times. So, you know, let's whack it right up. I've played with the delay. Try and find a sweet spot. When it's high up, it sounds horrible, but then when you bring it back down, it's nice and cohesive, like a piece of glue. I'll have 1 piece of glue, please, sir, and a pint of Foster's Top. Sorry, mate, don't do cocktails. Yeah, then we've got a little bit of a band pass push here, up at 81 hertz. By the way, do you want to have a one-on-one lesson? Just book in above. Like, it could be fun. You might learn something. You will learn something. I'll tell you all the secrets. Make you better. There's another thing I did on the LFO, which is the high-end push here. I'm trying to sell you something now, aren't I? I thought I'd said at the beginning of the video I wasn't going to do that. I might edit this out now. I probably won't edit it out. Yeah, that's the high-end little nugget. So this one actually does like boost a bit of the high end in line with the LFO, right? So that's mainly it. But then, yeah, I wanted to, when I've got this little change that happens here, I wanted to like exaggerate it a bit more, basically. So I added a flanger, and it just, the flanger is off, but it goes up in line with our little change of groove there. So yeah, you kind of accent it a bit more because you change the harmonics of it. So you feel that shift like a bit more obviously. And then the second thing I did to also exaggerate that was to play with the tuning. So the detuning, like the fine tuning of this, like really, it's quite subtle. It's the fine tuning of the oscillator 2, but I've turned it up all the way to 100, as you can see there, right? This isn't going up to 100, so it's only going to go about halfway. But it just changes that fine tuning, which means that little point is going to sound slightly different. So it's actually a sick bass, and yeah, I wasn't actually planning to make a tutorial when I made it. I thought I'm just kind of messing around with it and see what I come up with. But I literally thought it sounds wicked, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I love you, all of you, yeah. Except for you, Nathan. I hate you. I don't know anyone personally that watches this called Nathan, so that's why I said that name. If you are called Nathan, I'm deeply sorry, but I still hate you. I'm going to get someone in the comments. Hey, I'm Nathan. I've been watching your videos for 3.5 years. You've taught me so much. Nice to meet you. I've never seen your videos. Where are they? Where are your videos, Nathan? Anyway, that was all just for entertainment purposes. But I hope you learned something a little bit about the foghorn. I think I've covered everything here. Yeah, playing with the pitch. That was wicked at 9. Yeah, that little bit of FM as well made all the difference. And actually, one thing I did miss was the level on this one doesn't come all the way up because it was quite a more aggressive, like LFO kind of sound on this oscillator. Like, because I'm distorting it so much as well here with the drive, like it's really high up. It's also slightly modulating, as you can see, because it's so high. Yeah, you really hear that FM like really loudly when it's distorted. So I didn't want to have it all the way up. So let's bring it back to a sweet spot again. So that's dope. That's dope. And yeah, I won't do it now, but I would go out to, I'd bounce this out and then I would process it further and I would do some other cool things, which are things that I would save for my Patreon squad in a tutorial perhaps, because they know how to support the man. So yeah, if you're not on Patreon, join there. There's hundreds of videos on there that are still up there from ages ago. So you'll probably be able to watch it for the whole year. So you'll learn something on there as well. Anyway, yes, thanks for watching, my G's. I hope you enjoy the MEDELLIN FOGHORN. Have a great rest of your week. Peace.